value their life. All Black lives that have been silenced by the rhetoric of all lives matter. Now, the question at hand is, would Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. support the Black Lives Matter movement or the All Lives Matter movement? The answer is simple. Of course he would support the vision and focus of the Black Lives Matter movement. But his end goal will always be that we strive for a society where all lives do indeed matter. Well, the next question is, what exactly is the Black Lives Matter movement? Black Lives Matter is more than a trending hashtag on social media. It is more than another unarmed youth of color being gunned down by the police, and it is more than a moment. It is a movement and a call to action. Black Lives Matter is about finally reaching the mountaintop, creating equity in a society rooted in white supremacy and discrimination. It is about environmental justice for communities of color, police brutality, violence, equal access to education and resources. It is the continuation of Dr. King's dream and legacy. It is crucial to understand that the Black Lives Matter movement is not a movement of exclusion, but a quest for the liberation of Black people and true equity for all. I believe Dr. King would vehemently advocate for the notion that the Black Lives Matter movement focuses on Black lives. Dr. King believes strongly in racial equity and equal rights for all. He pushed for America to fulfill its promise to all of its citizens. However, the fulfillment of the promise, liberty and justice for all, has yet to become a reality because race continues to stratify our society. Race itself is a fiction, a man-made concept, but race is also a fact. Race has always been used as a tool for oppression and white supremacy, and that is why, for generations, Black people have suffered immensely. That is why communities of color have been weathered by concentrated poverty, inadequate education, and access to health care. That is why Black people make up nearly 40% of prison populations, but only 13% of the United States population. And that is exactly why the agenda and focus of the Black Lives Matter movement is such a vital part of our society. In Dr. King's letter from a Birmingham jail, he reminds us that we are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. This viewpoint is exactly what the rhetoric of the All Lives Matter movement is lacking. All lives matter should not be in our vocabulary, at least not yet. Of course, having a society where all lives do indeed matter and are valued the same is always the end goal, but that is currently not the reality. The reality is that all lives cannot matter if Black lives do not matter. Let me say that one more time. All lives cannot matter if Black lives do not matter. We need to harken back to when this idea of all lives matter first came into fruition. It was conceptualized as an immediate and aggressive rebuttal to the Black Lives Matter movement. The All Lives Matter movement is simply a renewed form of oppression towards Black people to invalidate their experiences and squash their voices. It is a movement that chooses to ignore the real issue at hand and unmistakably illustrates what Dr. King meant when he said, "Shallow understanding from people of goodwill is more frustrating than absolute misunderstanding from people of ill will." When we say Black Lives Matter and we intentionally choose to focus on Black lives and the Black community, we are not saying that Black lives matter more than others, or that cops' lives don't matter, or that we hate white people, or that we don't want all lives to matter. But what we are saying is that right now, the Black community, my community, is in crisis. Right now, the Black community, my community, is under attack. As President Obama so eloquently declared, there is a specific problem that is happening in the African American community that is not happening in other communities. And that is a legitimate issue that we've got to address. By focusing on Black lives, we are saying that Black lives matter too, as well. Also, in addition, Black Lives Matter is more than a rallying cry. It is a movement that stands on the shoulders of Dr. King and the Civil Rights Movement. It reminds us about the importance of uniting as a community, a belief Dr. King firmly believed in. Blacks should focus on their own individual communities before we can advance advance as a society. The internalized racism and self-hate is rampant within the Black community, and before we can progress and move forward as a nation, we need to come together as a Black community and remind ourselves of our self-worth and dignity. That is where the Black Lives Matter movement comes into play. It promotes an agenda of solidarity and hope. It promotes a platform for those who believe in equity within our society to stand together arm in arm, demanding actions and accountability, so there will not be another hashtag, so there will not be another life taken restlessly by police. Together, we can strive for a better society, a unified community where one day the dream of Dr. King will continue to be alive, where one day little Black boys and girls will be holding hands with little white boys and girls. Bang! Another hashtag. Whose life is it now? What city is in turmoil? Which community is being destroyed? Which family is now broken? It could be your child, your father, it could be you, it could be me. We do not know yet. But here is what we do know. As Dr. King once said, freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. The oppressor, all lives matter. What's at stake? Our freedom and self-worth, our community and our lives, and the vehicle, the continued dream of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Black Lives Matter. Thank you.